What's up, YouTube? So, today is Thursday, the 8th, and I have to go back to work for 2 weeks. I did a lot of work on this dyno, so I'm just going to show you what I got. I got some more 4-aught coming because I need to make 4 runs going up to this, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Like I said previously, I wasn't going to use fuses because I don't want any drops, so I used some this 1/4 inch, and I think it's 1 1/4 or something like that, copper bar, and all that stuff to measure it and drill it and get it all straight and stuff takes time. And also, you notice on some of my crimps, I ran out of heat shrink, so I had to order some more of that. So I made a few changes, mainly because I was getting noise on some things. So now the radio, the dyno are on the battery bank, and that big 500 amp power supply is kind of noisy. The only thing it's really affecting now is it affects this, and I put some filters on this thing. I got some filters for like drone copters or what have you, and I actually, it's inside the case. This case is all grounded. I grounded every piece of metal in there. The meter's grounded, and I put a filter right on the input of this, and it reduced a lot. It's still got some little jumping around stuff when that is on. So something else I did was I redid some of the copper bars on there, put some bigger ones. Eventually I'll get some copper for that battery bank. It has aluminum, but it's time consuming. It's expensive to get a piece of copper big enough to cut into those pieces right there, so I'm just going to hold off on that. I do have 4 runs going to my that is my 2000 amp contactor relay, and there's a shunt. The problem is that's the 75 millivolt shunt for one of my little cheap Chinese meters. I have to have a 100 millivolt shunt for that current meter, and I called RAM. Well, I emailed RAM Meter Inc., and it was supposed to ship the 14th. Now they say the 29th. And the one I got from China, they didn't even have it. They canceled my order and refunded me my money. You notice this big ESD mushroom switch, and a little bit of solder on there. What that switch is for is if I have a problem, an amp blows on me, and instead of sitting there trying to unscrew the damn leads out of the amp, you just mash that, and it opens that 2000 amp contactor, and it kills power up there to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing on. I'm gonna show you. So when you press this, it closes a 120 volt relay that puts power to the dyno, and then of course the radio. I got it always with power so the memory stays, but I put a switch right there for the ignition wire. And I got the SMD distortion detector, and I got some nice right angle RCAs that plug in through here, and it's connected to here, and the scope is going to be connected there as well. Right now I just have it hooked to the radio, and I'm gonna have to tell you that this was kind of a thought process to get everything to stay down. So I had to lift this up so this stupid plug right here wouldn't hit this, and then the one that came with this came straight out, and then the cord was all in the way. So I did some searching and I found some right angle ones with the angle in the, that goes down with the center pin. And I just kind of pookied this down. I stuck a little piece of copper in there and put some of that Permatex on there, and it's pretty solid. That way when I'm pressing buttons, this thing don't slide all around. This would slide all around too. What I did was I screwed this piece of Delrin down. I got a 1-inch 12 by 12 piece of Delrin, and then I lined this up on it and I drilled 2 holes inside, and I got 2 screws screwed into the Delrin so this don't move. This radio is just on a piece of like polyurethane foam, and it was adhesive back, and I got it stuck to the radio, and I just put a couple of little dabs of that Pookie so kind of keep it there so it don't slide around, but it's not on there too terribly tight. So if you notice, the dyno has power now, okay, but this little AmpLab voltmeter does not. Reason being is AmpLab voltmeter is over here connected to that, and eventually I'm gonna have where I can run the leads all the way to the amp, measure the volts. It's right at the amp for the drop. So when I reset this ESD switch, you'll hear that contactor close, and then you'll see the little AmpLab meter come on because now it has power over there. And I tested this thing. I have a 500 amp low pile from Harbor Freight, and I put my Fluke on it, and it only pulls like 456 amps. And I was getting about a half a volt drop from the battery bank from that meter. By the way, this meter goes straight to the battery bank, and this is what I monitor my battery bank with. I can also turn these on, and you can see 3.34, I'm sorry, 13.34 and 13.3. This one just don't have that higher resolution. And these balancers have actually been working pretty well. Also, you'll notice I put a floodlight up under here, and it comes on with the power. And I just thought it'd be kind of cool to put a light, because I needed some light under there to work. And instead of just having a white light, I got one of those color LED floodlights. And it's pretty cool. It has a little remote here, if I can find it. Probably fell back here somewhere. Yeah, there he is. Oh, just went under the damn thing. Oh well. Anyways, you can mash the button and it goes regular soft white like a regular floodlight. You could dim it and all that and change the blink patterns and all that. But I just thought I would add a little extra. Turn the light off here. Just thought it'd look, I don't know, not more like a rat nest on a table of wires, and just something cool to test amps with. Also, that contactor, those coils are 24 volts, so I had to add that other power supply. And you can see the 12 volt, I don't have anything connected to it anymore. It was just making too much noise. And also mounted my isolation transformer in case I need it. May need it for the scope, because some amps you can't ground the output negative. It will blow that amp up. And some people doing dynos may not know that, and that might be why your amps are blowing up. Just saying. Also, I got all the wire run except for the other two I got coming this weekend. Of course, I'm going to be at work. And then I got 2-aught right there. And let me tell you, when I do that 500 amp low test with that guy on, I have no voltage drop over there. But that thing is so noisy. And I followed the instructions in the manual. I even grounded the negative to earth ground like it said in the manual. And that is the ground out of that number 6 wire for that 240 volt service. And I got it run over there to the 240 volt plug. This little radio, the remote, I got a battery for it now. And it works. I don't have it plugged into my stereo right now, but you can see it's trying to play some audio there. Let me turn it up some. I have the scope plugged into it, so you see the clean audio. There's no more noise on it. It's nice and clean now. And I even tested through here and I was getting noise, and now this is clean too. So that was important. I just put it on the battery bank and that got rid of it. Still gonna have to try and figure out, I might have to contact Weschler and see what to do about that. And I've got it so close, I didn't think about it at the time. The proximity of that to this is, you know, part of the reason it's gonna have noise. And you think it's that little neon lamp, but it don't really mess with it at all. After this thing sits here and settles, it goes to 0. Probably needs to be calibrated, but 1 amp off, I'm not too worried about that. Of course, my LEDs are bright as shit again because I got this on 13, 14 volts. So, what else? Yeah. I got the wiring somewhat neat down there, as neat as I can get it. And took a lot of time to crimp and mount everything. And some of those I'm missing heat shrink. But like I said, I got some more coming. I put some little tubing on the balancer wires just to protect them, really. I mean, it looks a little better. This one, I redid that bar and I moved it over there and I pulled it out. So that's why it's like that. But you can see when I hit this emergency button, you'll see that amp lab meter go out immediately. So that kills power to the amp as well over there on that block. So I won't be able to, I'm not gonna test any amps yet. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show y'all. I got some Sky High Car Audio number 8 for the speaker leads here. I'm just dropping everything. And I made 2 pairs here. So I got these banana plugs right here, and these are pretty cool in my opinion. When you plug them in, let me loosen this. These are locking plugs. Just one-handed. Plug him in, and I made 2 for 2 channels, but you screw these knobs, you tighten them down, and it spreads that little banana plug, and it gets good positive contact. Plus, it makes them where they don't pull out. So I figured that would be best for doing dyno tests to get a good connection. And of course, where does it say Sky High on here? Oh, here we go. Here's a gray piece. Let's see what it says. Focus. Yeah, Sky High Car Audio, OFC number 8. Had to put something car audio in there. So The dyno itself is actually ready. I'm just waiting on wire to make sure I got good solid power there. Those batteries, they do handle 14.4 volts, and they float around 13.3 to 13.6, 13.8. It just over time, over a couple of days, it comes back down. And I've been running this stuff on this a bunch. Like I ran that radio. I listened to music on that radio and had this stuff on like all day yesterday and part of the night. And it went from like 13.6 and it's at 13.3. So there's a lot of amp hour right there. That's supposed to be 296 amp hours of some LEV60F cells. And yeah. So let me see, I got the wire all ran as neat as I could get it. I still got some cleaning up to do up under here, some of those wires. And I thought about for this, I might get a piece of plexiglass and come out by this speaker and go in. Just something, because I have grandkids and we don't let them in here, but man, they put a little toy car or something on there. That ain't gonna be nothing nice. I actually shorted that battery the other day with a nut, and it was a lot of fun getting that nut off. Some fireworks. So I was just unscrewing the nut, and it came out of my little screw gun, and it bounced, and it went between those two aluminum plates over there, positive and negative, and it was not happy. So as for the relay, guys, I built that relay. Those are 4 500 amp high voltage DC 500 amp continuous relays, and they're intrinsically sealed. And to buy those, I found them there, but you can get them for about 200 a piece. I got those for 40 bucks a piece on one of the little Chinese sites, and it took a while to get them, but I got them, and it's the same exact ones. And I think those are a real deal, because you know, all I had was 500 amps to test this thing, but it handled it really well. And I like my idea. I'm probably the first one you're gonna see with an amp dyno with an emergency kill switch. So you pop this button out, and the reason I got the idea of this button is I work in the oil field. We have emergency shutdown buttons like this all over the facility we work on. In case something goes wrong, we can just smack it and it shuts the whole oil and gas facility down. And then we have them on like generators and stuff too, in case there's a fire or something, because you know, just for safety. So this is a safety, and to me this was necessary, you know, because you shut that amp down as fast as you can. Yeah, it blew up, but how long you think it'll take you to unscrew a lead, and how much damage you think you save that amp with something like this, where it's repairable, where if it takes you more time, so it's popping, smoking, and cooking, you may not have the time. Of course, my friend Paul, he made me these nice little 3D printed stands for these SMD handhelds, and I have the AMM1 back here. Came out real nice, and I have a hole there, like just in case I needed to use it. Let's say these weren't there or they didn't work, I could still use this for a load and just use this, just come through here, or I can even use it for a clip light, but I plan on using that scope to see it clip, because I'd rather see it clip than just some light, because you really don't know where it's clipping with the light. So, like, you can hook this up to your amp, your bass amp, and you still have a load. You just set this thing to whatever load you want. Probably needs a new battery. So if I had problems with those, I can always use this as backup. This was more for the vehicle anyway. Of course, there's some debate, you know, how accurate everything is. And if you watch my previous videos, when I talk about the accuracy, you know, come on, is it really that important that you know exactly what that amp does? I mean, this stuff will get you a pretty good idea close what it does. And it may put right accurate, it may put a little higher, a little lower. But you're in the ballpark. I mean, it's car audio, man. We're not like testing a generator for like hospital power or something like that. Come on. So, and I remember, I'm a Gen Xer, man. I remember the days when they didn't have nothing like this. You know, it was they did, but it was small stuff, and this stuff would have been way too expensive back then. It's kind of expensive now to be testing amps. Most places test a little like home stereo. They have like a couple 100 or 300 watt resistors. Most home stereos did put out but maybe 100 or 50 watts. So that's what it is. And I think there was no smacking in this video. Not saying no names, but there's a certain YouTuber he don't like smackers. So, oh well. He didn't like somebody else's DYNO either. Hope he likes mine. If not, don't really care. But I like his channel. I like watching his stuff. He's cool. And I think that's it, y'all. One last thing is when I put these copper bars in here, these stick up a little high. So these, Steve Me put some M4 hex standoffs in here, and these are nylon. So I got some little black metal ones. I think they're about 6 or 8 millimeter taller. This is M4 by 0.7 or 7 pitch, whatever, to lift this up just a little bit higher coming. And then also I found some little M4 bolts, because these, I measured these are 10 millimeter long, and I found it, they like got a plastic wing nut, so I can take this on and off. But the cover's necessary, y'all, because just for safety. And yeah, so in fact that standoff broke off on me the other day just trying to take it loose, and I epoxied it back on there with a little dab of black epoxy, and it's good now. It's nice and tight. So I guess this is going to be it for this part. What was this, part 7 or part 8? Part 7, I think. So it's almost complete, and when we get it there, I got some amps to start testing. I guess I don't know if I'm gonna start big or small, big amp or small amp, maybe a base 8K or something, just to see what this will do. And you guys can throw some comments in there what you'd like to see. I have a Big Boss 8. I have a regular base 8K. I had a 12K sound digital, but I passed that one on to Bass Holio, the dude you see dancing in one of my shorts videos. I hooked Paul up with the Big Boss 3, and I put my Smart 3 back in the Yaris. And let's see, I got a HCCA D5000 from like the early 2000s. It's one that was made by Directed Audio. I've been wanting to test that thing. It's supposed to make 2,500 watts. We're gonna see. And then I got the big Hiphonics 8K we can try. And I got some various other smaller little amps for like highs and mids and stuff. The little DC audio, I gave that to my daughter's little fiance for one of his rods. I have to dig around. I got some amps, and I got friends with amps. Y'all see that yellow piece of 2-aught? Hold those two positives together. I had that there at first when I first hooked this bank together. Really, they're hooked together through that bar. I'd like to put some standoffs on here and get another long piece of copper to clear all that. Probably put some heat shrink on it so it don't short or nothing. You know, so I have a bus bar, but they're all connected on that bus bar with 4 pieces of 4-aught, so I think it's good. I may leave that wire or just take it off, I don't know, or shorten it or something. But y'all, I think that's gonna conclude this video. I can't think of anything else I might have missed. So, I'll see you guys probably in about 2 weeks. I do have some stuff coming. I got some more 4-aught coming, man, and the package is like 35, 36 pounds. My wife, she's tiny, man. She's like 4 foot nothing, 100 pounds. And when I got the first thing, all that wire, it was like, I don't know, about 50 pounds, and she was pretty mad at me because she couldn't move it. She had to slot it into the garage. But anyways, y'all have a good one. I hope everybody had a good Easter, and until next time.